So, there were the answers to the quiz. I know you don't have it with you, but if you want to take a look at that and see if you have any questions of what you see, we're going to talk about this some more. We may play with a few other ideas a little bit today. We shall see how the day goes. Y'all see anything that you have a question about? I didn't write down all the intermediate steps, so you definitely, because this was just my key, because of that, I could definitely see there being some questions about it, what you're looking at the board. So I want y'all to take a look at all the problems. If I need to zoom in some, let me know.
On number 3 and 4.
Yes, sir?
Well, just on number 3, I got it's copy equals 7 over 2.
Uh-huh.
What? And on number 4, I got y. That's what I got for Easter.
Okay. Let's take a look at those problems. Start with those.
I don't know what the source is.
Or what?
Just be mildly annoying.
My dad spilled his water all over my clothes.
Oi. Hey.
One time my friends shook their
So,
and sprayed it all over me. You probably did. Let's be honest.
number 3 is 1/6 plus 2/3 equals 1/12 p. It is the quiz. Can I have yours?
I kept asking my mom to help me on it, and then I asked my dad to help me on it, and they said in just a minute, and I kept asking them, and they would help me with it.
Okay, so do you have what you've at least completed so far, like where you were the other day?
Yeah.
When you were trying to give it to me then?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so we're gonna tackle this problem. What should we do?
Find the common
Sounds like a good idea. So we need common denominator between 6, 3, and 12.
12.
It is 12. That is true. If we were to list out the factors of 6, it would be 6, and then 6 times 2 is 12, which already matches, right? And then if we were to list out the factors of 3, what would the factors of 3 be, Asher? Just for the 3. 3, and then what's 3 times 2? 6 times 4 is 12, right? Oh, 6 times 2 is 12. What about 3? Yeah, that's true. All that's true. Well, what's the next factor of 3? 3, 6.
9.
There you go. And then 12. That's right. So 12 is what we're looking for, right? So we're going to multiply all these times 12, right? Right. So now what are we going to do? So we're going to do 12 on this one, and 12 on this one, and 12 on that one. Let me write down all the rest of the bits. 1/6, bring down the plus, 2/3, bring down the equals, and then 1/12 p, right? We can write it either way. I'll put it on this side, but it doesn't matter which side we put it on. As long as we remember to put the p there, right? So this is where we are. So what now, Asher? We're headed that way. What do we need to deal with first, Eli? Sure.
And I'm doing 12 times 1, or 12 times.
We want to pre-reduce. It's going to make our lives a lot easier. So how do we produce 12 over 1 and 1 over 6, Ella? Just this guy right here. Just this 12 over 1 and 1 over, oh, that's not really doing much on the screen, is it? This guy, like, what are you talking about? I see nothing happening. Just this guy right here.
You would multiply 12 by 1 and 6 by.
Now we got to pre-reduce, right? That's where we want to go. So what are we going to pre-reduce by?
You would reduce the 6 by 2.
Okay, what's 6 divided by 2 then?
12.
6 times 2 is 12. Are you saying you want to divide it by 2 or you want to divide it by 6?
I mean by 1. I meant the 12 times 2.
12, yeah, okay. So, or the 12 divided by 2, right? Mm-hmm. So 6 divided by 6 is what, Asher? Stop it. What's 6 divided by 6?
No, 1.
Thank you. Good job. I knew you knew things. You're okay. Nobody's concerned. What's 12 divided by 6? Yes.
Who did you ask?
I didn't get around to it, but I accepted Asher's answer as fact. All right. So we've reduced that guy, right? Does that make sense? Anybody confused where we are right now? I mean, I know we're like in the building, but you know what I mean, right? Anybody confused about anything we've done so far? Brooklyn, you confused? Any questions about what we're doing right now on this step? Eli, what about you? Okay. What about you, Ella? What about you, Olive? Gina? Asher? I notice you haven't written anything. Are you sure you're not confused?
I didn't know we were supposed to write this down.
That's fine. It's not a problem. I'm not yelling, just trying to help.
Not yet.
I don't think I've ever yelled at this class. I did kind of yell at a class the other day, but not y'all.
Because we're very manageable.
No.
And
Okay. We need. What do we need to do next? Let's go back the other way. Asher, what do we need to do next? There's a lot of different possibilities. Even if you say something wrong, it's okay. Don't be afraid of that. You got this. Okay, we gotta before we can add, is where we're headed, right? We're headed towards adding, right? But before we can add, we need to deal with all this yellow mess, right? So how do we deal with that?
You multiply.
Okay. So what do I need to do with this mess right here, specifically? You're doing great. Everything you said is true. We're trying to narrow down a little bit. You're doing great.
Divide, no, multiply.
That's a goal. What do I keep saying we want to do before we do the multiplication? Because I keep using a word. Actually, it's kind of a conjunction, but whatever. Okay, so we want to pre-reduce, right? You remember doing that? Yes? So we're going to pre-reduce this guy. What are we going to reduce these by? This one and this one. Does 3 go into 6? 3 goes into 6, but does 6 go into 3 now? No. Okay, so we can't reduce by 6. It's a good thought, but not by 3. Sure. Okay, so what's 3 divided by 3? You got that one in your sleep. What's 3 divided by 3? 1. Good job. What's 12 divided by 3? Good job. You remember doing this?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Now what do we do, Gina?
12 and 12.
Okay, 12 and 12. And what are we going to do to it? Going to turn them into 1. Sounds great. What now, Olive?
Do 2 times 1, 4 times 2, and 1 times 4.
Absolutely. So 2 times 1 is 2, plus 4 times 2 is 8, equals 1 times 1 is 1p, right? Got to bring down the p and the equals and the plus. What now, Ella?
Well, I had trouble with this on the quiz.
That's fine.
Subtract 2?
Okay, so this is, and I mentioned this is a little different than anything we've ever had before, right? Our goal ultimately is to get p by itself, right? Right? Okay, so p is kind of already by itself because the 1 doesn't even have to be there, right? So since it's by itself, we kind of already have part of our goal already met. We just got to kind of clean up the other side. So what do we do with this? This is what Asher kept trying to say, which he was right about. It's just right in the future, right? So what do we got to do with just these 2 numbers right there? Add them. That's right. So p equals, 2 plus 8 is 10, right? So 10 equals p. So then all we really need to do now, and we don't even technically have to do this, although it's a good idea and we're going to stay in the habit of doing it, is we're just going to switch the way we write this and turn it into p equals 10. And then that problem is finished. Eli, you paying attention over there? You are. I saw you. Right as I was asking, you were already back. Good job. Way to go.
If you ever know.
He paid attention. His secrets.
A little bit. Sometimes, I mean, we all leave mentally sometimes. Brooklyn does it all the time. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on this problem?
Did I get it right on the quiz?
I don't know. I hadn't graded your quiz yet. I was waiting until I had them all. For one thing. I also had a very busy weekend, but, several layers of things.
After you do 2 plus 8,
Yes, ma'am?
what should you do?
So we're talking about right here. No, because p is already by itself. That's a good thought, and so the reason why we don't is because this 10 isn't attached to the p. That's why this problem is a little tricky, is because it kind of finishes without having to do much work. Because the p is already by itself, right? Okay, so once the p is by itself, we're finished. Well, p is by itself and it's simplified as far as it'll get simplified. Then we're finished. So that's why we don't have to subtract it, because it's not attached to the p. It's already over there on the other side. We just started with p on the right side.
So 1p is equal to nothing?
One, it's not equal to nothing. It's just equal to p. And that's true a lot of time. Like with pretty much anything. Like if we have 2, we can multiply that times 1, and it's the same number, right? Right? Or if we have this, and y'all don't really know what this means yet, but if we have 2 to the, well, I don't know why I wrote it 8 when I was saying 2, but whatever. If we have 8 to the first, that still equals 8. So if there's a 1 there and it's a variable of any kind, we don't have to write it because we don't need it there because it's the same as just it by itself. So that's why the 1 can go away. I know it's a lot to kind of think in your head, but that's why that is. Because we could say 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times x, and that still just equals x, right?
Yeah. Not 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times x.
That is what I just wrote is, yes. These are all time symbols. Remember the dot is times.
Wouldn't that be 1x equals x? Or is that an equation?
Remember that when there's, so if we have 2x, if I have this problem right here, if I have 2x equals, let's say, 15, okay? How do I get rid of that 2? Yeah, I do. That's right. I divide both sides by 2. Why do I do that?
Because the 2 is right next to that.
Yeah, and when it's right next to that means multiplication. That's right. And so we remember we're doing the opposite, and division is the opposite of multiplying. And so that's why we're doing it that way. So yes, 1x is the same as 1 times x, right? If we have, remember, because if we have a number next to the variable, it did kind of just appear. If we have a 1 next to the variable, or a number next to the variable, that's the same as times, which also just equals x, right? Does that make sense? Good. Distractions is what that face was about. Let's look at number 4. Oi. Unhelpfulness. Okay. Number 4. No, it's because I rolled off the button. Number 4 was 3/15 y minus 1/5 equals 2/5, right? Well, that's what I see. Is that what you see? Okay, good. Glad to hear it. So what do you need to do first, Eli? Sure. Least common denominator between what 2 numbers, Brooklyn? The denominators, which are what, Asher, in this problem? 5 and 15. I'm pretty sure you're right. Because 5 times something is that. So 15 is right. So once we have the 15 here, we're going to distribute it across, right? We're going to put a 15. And then we're going to put a 15 here. And then a 15 here. We can put them over 1. Because it helps our brains as we're learning these things. So that sounds grand and glorious. Hello. This is not a new whiteboard, buddy. It's my pen acting goofy. So, then we've got times 3/15. Y, we got to make sure and put the minus, right? And put a 1/5 and put an equals and put a 2/5. What now, Olive?
Reduce 15 and 15 to 1.
Sounds great. Now what, Ella?
We reduce 5 and 15 by 3 and 1.
And this one's the same, so we'll just put that there. Now what, Eli?
We do 1 times 1, 3 times 1, 2 times 1.
1 times 3 is what? Brooklyn. 1 times 3. You're brilliant.
A revolutionary idea. Ashley, you're gonna be a news anchor someday. News anchor.
What's 3 times 2? News anchor man?
What's what?
3 times 2.
6.
Number 6. Good try.
Ta-da!
Now what, Gina?
+3.
The 6 so far.
Because I was keeping my equals lined up, so it would be neat. +3. Now what, Olive?
But when
Three
you
y
cross
on
those,
both sides.
when you cross those out, are you also crossing the negative or subtraction sign?
Yes. What'd you say?
3. Divide 3 on both sides.
I haven't even written down the next part yet. But that would be the next step. What do I end up with after I add 3 to both sides? 9 on this side, that's right. So now what, Ella? Even though your sister already told you the answer. Divide by 3 on both sides. And what do we end up with, Eli?
Wait, 1.
On the left side we do. What do we end up with on the right side? Shh. You're multiplying, sort of. You're pretending it's a 6 and you're multiplying. We want to do 9 divided by 3.
Are
Are you gonna give us our quiz today?
No, because I didn't grade them until I got them all. So I can't grade and teach at the same time.
We would certainly try.
I could, but I'd probably fail miserably. I know y'all'd love that and you'd make fun of me, but it's okay.
I mean, hey.
2 times 3 is 6. So close, but not quite. 9 divided by 3.
4 or 3.
3. That's right. That's right. 3 times 4 is 12. So we end up with y equals 3. Any questions on this problem, boys and girls?
Did we get it right?
I don't know. I can't know that. I mean, I can in the future, but I can't at the moment.
So why don't you just be a time traveler then?
I don't know. I just refuse to apply myself enough, I suppose. All right, let's do a few more problems like this. If we only take Einsteinian physics into account, then theoretically, time travel is kind of possible.
Not going back.
True enough. Well, sort of. But sort of.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. So much of science is sort of the sort of.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the point of science, is the questions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or is it the answers? I don't know. Okay, so let's do an example. Let's do a couple of guided practices.
Science have an identity crisis.
Okay?
What is science?
We're going to do 2/7 minus everybody's favorite 3/49 L equals 5/7. Okay, I want everybody walking through that. I'm going to come around and see how we're doing, and see if we can hit some questions as we unpause. Okay, so let's do another one. let's do I think let's do 7/10 equals negative 3/15 plus
If it didn't have, if it didn't have a common, not common denominator, then would you just not have to reduce? You would just, it would just,
you would still clear the fractions if we're doing it this way, which is the way we're focusing on right now.
so it would just be 7 equals negative.
Yeah, like if it was just 10, 10, and 10, you just put a 10 on the outside of the thing, and then you knock them all out. And actually, it would just be the numerators at that point. So y'all do it the same way. Ready, set, go. Questions about this problem? That's fine. Let's copy down our homework first, though. Okay. So we've got that going on. Yes, the mixed number. Homework. Number 1. 5. No, that's not what I want. Sorry, y'all. Let's do 5/7 x minus 3/14 equals 1/28. And number 2, 3. Number 2, excuse me, is going to be negative 8/5 y minus 2/10 equals 1/25. Which isn't that terrible. The common denominator is a little bit on the large side, but not too bad. It's still double digits, not triple digits, so no big deal. One more, let's do 2/3 plus, let's do another one like this, and plus 2/9 equals 4/15. No, bad choice. Sorry, that's not going to be a good idea. How about let's do 1/18 x. So there's homework. So do y'all have any questions? I know some of y'all didn't quite finish with this problem. Did we see anything that's confusing on here? As you're thinking,
I think I get the whole problem.
I think you can do the homework. I think you should be able to.
I got x equals 2 and 5/3.
Did you get 27 divided by 12? Okay. So, it is. Yeah, 5/12 is right. That's what I get for rushing, trying to get it done in a hurry. You're right.
Well, I got 23, because 12 divided by 27 is 23.
So did you add 6 to both sides? There it is. There it is. Because you'd have to do 12 into 27, right? And then it'd be times 2. Oh no, I was right to begin with. It is 3, because it'd be minus 24 And 27 minus 24 is 3, so 2 3/12, which reduces to 2 1/4. Why? Because it's not. See, Asher. Any other questions? Y'all are making things happen.
Why do you always give us so much homework
On Wednesday?
why do you give us less homework on Wednesday?
Girl, I just gave you 3 problems on Monday. What are you talking about? That the amount it here's the real best response to that. The amount of homework I give y'all is piddly. So I don't think I would complain too hard about it, the amount of homework I give you. Because no matter what day it is, I give y'all very little homework. Wait till you get to pre-cal.
How much homework do you have?
Lots of problems, like 20-something problems.
Yeah.